Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. And if you guys have already been subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you guys a lot. For today's video, we're going to talk everything about brushes. As much as makeup is interesting and fun, we definitely need to have good tools so that we can achieve that makeup in the best possible way ever. And today we're going to talk everything affordable. If you guys have watched my videos, you guys know that I don't spend much money on my brushes. I think majority of the brushes that I own are affordable, and that's for a reason. I've tried a lot of brushes and these are like my top favorite. We're going to tackle both the face brushes as well as the eye brushes. So let's dive right into the video. For foundation, there are two brushes that I really want to recommend to you guys, and one is from Real Techniques, and this is the Instapop brush. It has a tilted angle on the top and it is a rounded shape, so it definitely helps you in getting to the nooks in the corners of your nose, in inner corners of the eyes. If you want to buff it right on the cheeks, it's a very good shape to get that blended together. Now this was like a limited edition kind of a brush. If I do find this brush, I will definitely leave it down in the comment section below. But if you can find this brush, this is such a good purchase. You can also use it for powder foundation when you have to like pack the product onto your face. If you are a person who use like powder foundation, this would be perfect for you because the shape of the brush is so good that it can lay down the product right on your face and then you can buff it also up. So this was my first recommendation. For the second brush for foundation, you've seen me use this brush like multiple times. This is Morphe's M439. The shape of this brush is like rounded. It's like a buffer top. So if you use like liquid foundation, it buffs into your skin very nicely. It blends like so smoothly, and because of the wide surface area of the brush, it covers large places. I have a big face, so I can easily cover the foundation and like blend it all across the face in very less time, and that's majorly because of this brush. For concealer, I have Real Techniques brush, and this is called the Deluxe Crease brush. Because it has like a rounded top on the brush, it buffs under your eyes so smoothly and effortlessly. It's the same concept of that foundation brush, but so much smaller, so that you can like get right into your inner corner of the eye. You can blend it all across on top of your eyelids. This is like my must-have. After getting this brush, I've stopped using any other brush for my concealer. If you watch my videos, you know that I'm using this brush every day of my life, and I've mentioned this previously in my video too. This came in a set of 4 brushes from Real Techniques, and I love all 4 of them. So these are the 4 brushes that it came with. I use it for concealer, blush, for cream bronzer, and for highlighters, and it also came with that Real Techniques sponge that we all like. If you are a person who blends your foundation with a sponge, that sponge is so good, guys. I don't use any other sponge apart from that Real Techniques sponge. That's how much I like it. For powder, it's another Real Techniques powder brush, and this is such a big fluffy brush. You can buff your whole face in like seconds because of the huge shape and the bristles. It is so good, and it's not like rounded. Let's say this is a Wet n Wild brush. This is also a powder brush, but this is so much more round. The difference between these two brushes is because the bristles are cut like a dome shaped here, and here it's more tapered off on the top. So if you're going for like loose powders, this is so good to buff the whole loose powder onto your skin and to give like a smooth finish without even it looking powdery on your skin. If I lose this brush, I'll go and buy it again for sure. That's how much I love this brush. Talking about blush brushes, I have 2 with me. I have the one from Real Techniques that I was talking about in the set, and this is the Real Techniques blush brush. The shape of this is so good. It's tapered on the top, but it is so flimsy that it is so lightweight when you're putting blush on top of it. If you have a blush with like high pigmentation, you want just a light dusting of it, this blush brush would solve your purpose. It would never let it go heavy on your skin, just because the bristles are cut in such a format that it would not let it lay with high pigmentation on your skin. The second blush brush that I want to talk about is from Wet n Wild, and I love this brush when I'm going for like a nude blush, or if I'm going for cream blushes. This is my go-to. Now again, when I'm going for a cream blush, I want like more of a buffing action happening, and that's why I recommend this kind of a shape, a dome shape, for cream products, because it's very easy to blend it into your skin if you have that bristles. But if you have these kind of bristles where it is like pointed, it's very difficult for you to buff it into your skin. This is very good if you have to have a light dusting of the powder blush right onto your skin, and you tap it onto your skin and blend it together. Here you will have to like buff it. Both of these are very good quality brushes. I recommend both. This works beautifully with powder blushes also, but this would give you more pigmentation as compared to this. I actually have another brush for cream blushes specifically, and this is from ELF, and this is called the ELF Small Stipple Brush. Now this brush, you can actually use this for cream blushes, cream bronzers, cream highlights, anything cream products. Because of the bristles here, there are 2 levels of bristles in this brush, and that's why this is so flimsy. It's so airy that it will not let the product to pick up a lot on this brush, and hence you'll get more of a buffed out smooth finish on your skin. I would definitely recommend a stippling brush if you are a person who uses a lot of cream products for your face. Now for bronzer, if you are a person who uses powder bronzer all throughout your face, that Wet n Wild's powder brush that I was talking about is great for it. If you really want to just like bronze up your whole face, then this is a very good brush to have. Favorite bronzer brush to have is from Zoeva. It's mainly because it's tapered at the head of the brush, and it is easier to lay down on your skin because of the shape. And because I love that shape, you have seen me use this brush a lot of the times, and this is ELF's blending brush. The shape is so similar. If you see from the top of the handle, it's tapered and it fans out on the top like that. If you want to like have a specific area where you want to bronze or contour, this is so good guys, and so inexpensive. I've used this almost every video of mine. The bristles from the side, it's more like tapered off, vertically. That would help you to lay down the products and to buff it also very nicely, just because it has a rounded shape as well as that fanned shape. Now, if you're using like cream contours a lot on your face, you really want to define those cheekbones, because you don't want the cream contour or the cream bronzer to just run all over your face. And that is where the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush comes into play. This also comes in that set, and it's so good to buff it out in a specific area and to cut those cheekbones. If you're contouring, if you're using cream products, the shape is absolutely perfect because it's small but it is dense, so it will buff it out. And because of the shape, it's so good for the cream products to lay down on your face and blend it pretty smooth. Now, if you've seen my videos, to set my under eyes, the only brush that I use is my ELF's small tapered brush, and the shape of this is so good. It's like a tulip shaped brush, so it is so good to lay down under your eyes, and the quality is so good guys. It's so soft because the bristles shade goes right into your inner corners. To set my under eyes, I don't go for any other brush other than this. For highlighters, I have 2 brushes with me. One is from that Real Techniques set that I was talking about. I generally use where my highlighters are more on a softer side and I want to buff it on my skin in a specific area. This brush is a little more on a denser side, and because of that dome shape, it's very easier to lay down and tap it on the skin and then buff it on. The other brush that I want to recommend to you guys is the Wet n Wild's highlighter brush, and this is P75 in the Pro line. The Pro line of Wet n Wild is really good. All the brushes that I've tried, I've really liked. but my favorite is that blush brush and the highlighter brush. And Wet n Wild has sale almost all year round, so if you're going to their website, definitely check for the sale and you'll get it. This is such a good brush. If you have like an intense highlighter and you want to like only pick up a little bit and buff it onto your skin, this is so good. This is very flimsy, it's very loosely packed. It's very good for concentrating the product on like the highest point of the cheekbones, for the nose highlighter. It's so good. So that was our face brushes. Now moving on to the eye brushes. There are few eye brushes that should be like a staple in your collection. First would be the blending brushes. Now I'm going to talk about 3 blending brushes, 2 from Morphe and 1 from e.l.f. The main blending brush that I use for all over my eyelid and to buff it in the crease is Morphe's M441. If you've used this brush, you will know what I'm talking about. I have so many blending brushes and this does the job like no other. This would do the work for you. Out of the whole collection, I just have 4 Morphe brushes and all the 4 brushes are so good. Morphe's foundation brush, my holy grail. This blending brush cannot live without, and so is the other blending brush that I'm going to talk about, and this is Morphe's M433. This brush is tapered on top of the handle, so it gives a more of like a fan shaped effect. Now I'll show you both the brushes. This is more of a rounded tip and this one is more like fanned out, but it is tapered on the handle. If you can see, this is more tapered down and it feathers out more on the tip. So this brush is the best for laying down and for buffing. You can buff it on the outer corners, inner corners, across the crease. I would recommend this brush like no other person. There's another e.l.f.'s brush that I really want to talk about, and this is called the crease brush from e.l.f. This is more of a smaller brush as compared to the Morphe one. So let me put it on my skin and you'll see. So this one is much more of a fatter brush and this is more of a thinner brush, and you only want the concentration on the outer corner. I love this brush for that. This is so good for like placing the product right where you want and just buffing it there. It's more of a detailed brush but very necessary for an eye look. The next brushes that I'm going to talk about is the flat brushes. Again, a very necessary category, because these are the flat brushes that I would recommend. One is the e.l.f.'s eyeshadow brush, and I think this was like, I don't know, $1 or $3. It's that cheap, but I really do like it. And this is the Wet n Wild's flat brush. Both of these are very good to place the shimmer on your lid, to buff it out on the lower lash line. If you do not like placing the shimmers with your finger, this would give you the highest pigmentation. Let's say if you have a creamy eyeshadow, which is like ColourPop's Super Shock Shadow, those textures can easily be picked up from these brushes. And I think the Wet n Wild's, the flat shader brush, I think I bought it from Dollar Tree if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but if I can find it, I'll definitely link it down below. There are few brushes that you definitely do find it in your palettes also, out of which I definitely love my Anastasia brush that comes in the palette. But similar to that is my Makeup Revolution Pro brush that comes in the palettes. And I think I got this in like my neutral versus neutral palette or my light and shade palette, the one that looks like Kat Von D's Shade and Light palette. I have 2 of these brushes with me. So good, guys, so good. It comes with dual-ended brush. One has a flatter surface and the second one has more of a chubbier brush on the other end. The flatter brush is beautiful to pick up those shimmers and to apply it on your lid. The more stubbier side is very important where you are doing a cut crease and you want to just buff it right where the cut crease is. This is stiff but blendable. It's so good for that. The other brush that is very important for me is my Wet n Wild's P10. This is another brush in the Pro line. I love this brush for my inner corners. I always use it. I use it in every video of mine. It's so soft, it won't scratch you. Definitely a must have for your inner corners. You definitely need a flat definer brush if you want to define your lower lash line or if you want to do a winged liner. I definitely recommend the Morphe M165 brush. Now, I have used a lot of flat definer brushes. Most of them I've found it very stiff or very flimsy, where if it is very flimsy, it's very difficult for you to line your upper lash line with that brush. If it is very stiff, it really hurts because it doesn't work for you and it doesn't help in blending the product. This is so perfect. It is stiff where you can put the liner on your lash line, as well as it is a little more like forgiving where it like blends it onto your lash line too. This is amazing to have. This is one of the best brushes that I own for a flat definer brush. Now I'm going to talk about a few intricate brushes, not necessary to have in a collection, but I really do love it. Now I don't know whether I can list these brushes down in the description below or not, because these were the brushes that I like owned. I think it's been like 6 years and I bought it out of Amazon. If I find it, I'll definitely link it down. But these came in a set and I constantly use it. Whenever I'm doing my cut crease, I definitely use these brushes. Now this is a flat definer brush, but it is so thin that it lays down. If you want like a big half cut crease, it's so simple to like put the concealer on this brush and just to draw a single line and you'll get that. Similarly, if you want like a half cut crease, or if you want to like place, I don't know, spotlight eye, and you want like a slimmer and a thinner brush, this brush is so good for that. Because it's so thin, I think this was like a lip brush. This is my go-to brush for those intricate designs. Now this brush, I don't know, I really don't know exactly from where did I get it, but this is like a pencil brush. It's very thin and it is very slim, and this is the brush that would really help you if you use a lot of glitters or liquid shadows and you want that glitter placed on the cut crease, or if you want to place some dots on your eyes, you know, all those intricate designs, that's when this would come into place. But that's it. I think these are the brushes you'll ever need to do your whole face and your whole eyes, and these are one of the best brushes that I own in my collection. So that's all for today, guys. That was my brush recommendations for you guys. If you guys have not been subscribed already, please do subscribe and please ring that notification bell so that you are notified every time I'm posting next. Until next time, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.